All right, and here we are. All right, everybody. I have David Franklin here. This is actually going to be audio right here. I really wanted to do the Facebook Live, but for some reason that's acting up. So right now you'll be seeing me and hearing him. So this is David Franklin, Democratic activist and radio host from New Mexico.
Hey, welcome. Hello. Thanks for having me, Eric.
Hey, not a problem at all. So people, this one might be a little bit different. In this segment, we're going to be covering the cast members and the legacy of the hit WB series Charmed, which ran from 1998 to 2006. They had 8 seasons. Of course, they have a wonderful set of cast members, the top four being
Hmm.
Shannen Doherty, Holly Marie Combs, Alyssa Milano, and Rose McGowan. Now, you have quite a few other cast members there. Kaylee Cuoco later joined. Of course, you got T.W. King,
Hmm.
Dorian Gregory, Brian Couse, Julie McMahon, all of them. So, so yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of. So this was quite a year for a number of reasons. I mean, of course, the big sad news: we lost Shannon Doherty. She had passed a month before the convention in August took place. That was the one in
Hmm.
Chicago I was at, and of course they gave a big tribute to her at the panel there. Rose McGowan was there, Holly Marie Combs was there. That was really nice. So it was a pleasure to meet
Hmm.
them and talk with them. Now, David, you told me that you've met some of the Charmed cast. Now you met Holly Marie Combs and Alyssa Milano, correct?
Yes, and briefly Shannon Doherty, and briefly Alyssa Milano. And when I was in acting, Rose McGowan, it wasn't a cattle call audition, it was a special invited audition, and Rose McGowan was there. And, they're the nicest people, And even though it was brief with Alyssa Milano, she was at a baseball game. It was in Florida, South Florida, former Marlins, Florida Marlins. It was a game of that, and like she was shaking hands and signed some autographs. I was like, hey, pleased to meet you. You have a good show there, Charmed. I love it. So, oh, thank you very much. What's your name? I hear an accent. I'm like, oh, I'm David. I'm from Jamaica. She said, oh, okay, cool. So thanks for watching and keep watching. And that was it. That was the exchange, basically. Now, with Holly Combs, I lived in New York and, was pursuing acting like I did in Florida. And I was a chef. And, it's like when you go on the train to New York, it's like I see these two people. I'm like, oh my God, is that is that Holly Combs and Brian Krause? And then I was fanboying out. I'm like, oh goodness. So I walked over to them, stick out my hand and said, hello, I'm David. Nice meeting you. But you look just like so and so and so. They're like, yep, it's us. you know? And Holly Combs, this big broad smile, and then Brian like held his head down and was like laughing. And other people around was like, oh, they're in charm or they were in charm. I'm like, and so you just start talking, and it was just a good thing, because when you meet certain TV stars or movie stars, they're like, oh, you're below me, get away, but they're just open and friendly, they're nice people.
And that's nice to hear too, because
Hmm.
you know, and it's funny because I was surprised to learn that I think it's Keanu Reeves who takes the
Hmm.
sub in New York. I mean, you're talking
Hmm.
a guy with a approximate $400 million net worth who did the Matrix movies and the John Wick movies and many other things. And that's
Hmm.
another reason why people respect people like him is because he's not like presenting himself as being somebody who's an elitist or somebody who's above people like you and I.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, his money tops us, but it's like, hey, we're all humans here, and I act and I like to meet fans and people, and so I think that's why he
Hmm.
doesn't get bombarded with like, power like that. And I know that he's a way bigger name than the people on Charm for the most part, but I mean, you don't really see
Hmm.
that with them either. But it
Hmm.
and so I when I was talking to Holly at the convention and Rose, it's like they kind of gave off that same type of energy. They were friendly, they were
Hmm.
personable, and it's just with talking to them. I showed them the message that I had sent to Shannen, while she was still
Hmm.
here, and of course she didn't see it because I know she's a celebrity, so she doesn't have time to go through millions of messages.
Hmm.
But they looked at that and they said that was
Hmm.
really nice. That was really sweet of you, and I would definitely like to see. I actually put in a request for them to appear at the next Fan Expo Comic Con in Chicago in August. That's what they do every year in August in Chicago. So I'm hoping Alyssa Milano could make an appearance there. Um, and so, and then that brings me to, you know, what a lot of us had seen, and some people claim that they had heard this for years, but I didn't even know about this until last year because, to be fair, like I said, I'm the last person in the world to start watching Charmed. And, this whole thing about Shannen Doherty being fired from the show allegedly because of Alyssa. And I did a video about this a few months ago, and I don't remember if you had seen it, but I
Yeah,
had
well,
yeah, okay. And so there are arguments. So here's what I typed in on the chat GPT. I said, the cast of Charmed. Many sources say that Alyssa Milano had Shannen Doherty fired from the show. Shannen herself claimed it. Holly Marie Combs and Rose McGowan apparently co-signed her claim. Alyssa swears up and down that she had nothing to do with Shannon's exit from the show. And I said, what are the arguments on all sides? And there's one here that says, okay, so the arguments that support Shannon's claim, Alyssa Milano played a role in her firing, and saying, according to Holly Marie Combs, who was very close friends with Shannen, has supported Shannon's versions of events. She has hinted that there was tension between Alyssa and Shannen, but avoided going into detail. In the interviews, she had expressed disappointment about how Shannon's departure was handled. And apparently, Shannen Doherty said in an interview with Entertainment Tonight back in 2001 that there was too much drama on the set. And while she didn't necessarily directly blame Alyssa for her firing, there were many fans and media outlets that interpreted her comments as on-set drama as an allusion to their feud. So, I mean, when you hear something like that, I mean, did you have any suspicions or theories that Alyssa had something to do with it, or what was your thought when you heard that?
Well, from what I hear from reliable sources is that, they were trying to be the top dog in the show, where Alyssa Milano's coming off, Who's the Boss? She was like, oh, okay, so I have more name recognition, so I should be the lead in the show. And then I guess Shannon Doherty didn't take a liking to it. So, that's where the conflict arose. And Alyssa Milano, from what I heard, is that she had the power to say to the producers if, you know, she should be, Shannon Doherty should be fired. And she didn't step in to say, no, let's work out the differences. Let's move beyond this because it's a good show and let's concentrate on that. So she said nothing and, she was written out of the show, Shannon Doherty, So, I mean, when you're in acting, there's so many personalities and egos involved. Not saying that Alyssa Milano has an ego, and, definitely not Shannon Doherty because when I met her, found out about the cancer and, again, stick out my hand and say, hello, I'm David, nice meeting you. I'm a big fan of your work and your show and what have you. She say, handshake, no, come here, bring it in, and hug me. I'm like, wow, okay,
Wow.
So, yeah, so I, I don't really want to take sides, but because I like both of them. And, it's just unfortunate that Shannon had to go, because she was like the main crux of the show, basically,
Yeah, she was the big sister who acted as the motherly figure to Piper and
Yeah.
Phoebe. Yeah.
Yes. And so it was good that Rose McGowan came in. She did an exceptional job as the new third sister. And, I started watching the show when I lived in Ohio, going to college. My downtime, I set my thing to tape it, watch it. I said, wow, this show is good. Because nowadays when you have TV shows, it's more reality shows, and reality shows are not reality shows, basically. It's scripted. But
Yeah.
with Charm, it's just that, 1 hour just like, letting go off belief and just like in the moment where, you just enjoy a show. It was well written. Constance M. Burge was the creator of the show, Aaron Spelling. He's a legend in the TV industry, So, I mean, it was a damn good show. And this reboot that I have now, I watched a couple episodes of it, and it's just like a blueprint of what the original was. So I stopped watching that. I mean, nothing can beat the original. So,
Well, you know what? And to a certain degree, I guess I could agree with that because to me, it really depends on the show and the movie. Because
mhm,
there's been a number of movies that, and see, with a lot of the stuff that I watch, there are certain
mhm,
shows that when they go off that, I mean, it works great. But there's a part of me that also believes it might have something to do with the genre. You know, for example, like I've said
mhm,
on my show repeatedly, I mean, if you're a fan of horror films and let's say you like
mhm,
the Scream movies, you know, you watch the movie, you watch the TV show. The TV show is basically just like the movies, but with the different cast of characters. You know,
mhm.
same thing. I just rewatched the Taken movies with Liam Neeson. That's my second favorite
Right.
action thriller series of all time. And I look at the
Mhm,
TV show, and it's like it's pretty great, but it doesn't quite match the movies. I know they came out with this thing, True Lies, a couple years ago. I actually
yeah.
haven't had a chance to get to that yet, but at first I thought it was based off the movie True Lies, but I've seen some sources
Mhm,
that didn't quite match that. So I would have to check it
mhm,
out for myself. But see, with the reboot Charmed, um,
mhm,
I haven't seen that one yet, and I don't even think I learned of that until earlier this year. I think
mhm,
the characters are what Maggie and Macy or something like that. It's all M's. I
yeah.
think it's like Melody,
Right.
Maggie, Macy, or something like that.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
you know, I guarantee you that just based on what I've seen from the original Charmed, it doesn't
mhm,
seem like anything would top that. And we as fans do get kind of hooked on to and become really obsessed with the characters and the actors and actresses who play those characters. And when we see
mhm,
that, we get so linked into it that we're like, yeah, nobody else can do that. I mean, that would be
mhm,
like that would be like if you took out Mariska Hargitay in season 17 or 18 and replaced her with somebody else. It
mhm.
would still be SVU, but it just wouldn't be quite the same. So, I mean, I,
Right.
I kind of get what you mean on that, but you know, even a show like that that's been on the air forever, they've had so many character changes. So, I
Mhm.
think it's really up to the fans to decide that. And yeah, I think most fans have decided the original one is just better.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't impressed with the reboot, because basically it's the same storylines, and I mean the special effects is good. Don't get me wrong, but the storyline is basically the same. And it's just I've seen this already. This is not original, you know. I don't know if you saw the reboot of Psycho with Vince Vaughn. That was a remake. And I was so disappointed with that movie because it's just based off the original. It's like Hollywood not being original anymore. And no matter what genre it is, Hollywood needs to come up with better things, better writing, and stop doing reboots. 'Cause I think that's what's killing Hollywood. Because I'm writing a screenplay now. Um, have you ever seen V for Vendetta? It's something in that light, you
Okay.
know, and I'm going to shop it around soon. I've written about 60 pages. I'm planning to make it 120 pages, a full length script, and shop it around. And, I mean, it's hard to get in the entertainment business. And, at 50 years old, I was 50, November 20th pass, it's time to make a move, because uh, it's not natural to be in front of the camera and be somebody else. So I'm gonna really try and do original writing, shop it around, even make small independent films. You know.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, that reminds me, and I'm glad that you said that because you and I'm actually pulling this up on my phone now because you were talking about the wasn't there like a poem or something that you had wrote in regards to the characters on Charmed?
Yes. Yes.
Actually, you
Mhm.
know what? I think I just pulled it up right here. You have the matter of fact, let me copy and actually, you know what? You know, here's what I can do even better. I can forward it to this other part of Messenger. That way, I can just bring it up. This is why I love
Mhm.
technology these days. Here,
Mhm.
there's that one. The forward to. All right, forward that one to this one.
Mhm.
So you did an ode to Shannon Doherty, Holly Marie Combs, Um,
Mhm.
or matter of fact, yeah. So more of that, and and then there's three more, and so you did Holly Marie Combs, and
Mhm.
Alyssa Milano, and Rose
Mhm.
McGowan.
Mhm. Mhm.
Rose McGowan
Yep.
here. Yeah, I do agree with what you said that it's kind of it's a little bit uncomfortable and awkward to try to take sides in that situation, even though we're not
Mhm.
personally friends with them and they don't really know us like that. But
Mhm.
let me pull it up right here, and it's like that's really the bottom line of it. It's just the bottom line is we don't really know because we're not in that circle. We obviously weren't on the show. Um, and so I wanted to pull this up right here. So you have the Ode to the Sisters Halliwell. Now, if you don't mind,
Mhm.
I'll get the reading on this, and then yeah, and
Mhm.
then and so to people who are watching this who are unfamiliar, the Halliwell is the last name for the characters on the Charm show. The characters that Shannen Doherty, Holly Marie Combs, Alyssa Milano, and Rose McGowan play: Prue, Piper, Phoebe,
Mhm.
Paige. Um, it says right here, Ode to the Sisters Halliwell. In the heart of San Francisco's hills, where magic flows and time stands still, four sisters born of ancient grace, their power bound and their fates interlaced. Prue, the eldest, fierce and strong, with a will to right what's wrong, her spirit guides, though gone from sight, a guardian still in darkest night. Piper, steady, heart of gold, with love that's warm, a touch so bold. She freezes time with just a wave, a healer's hand, a soul so brave. Phoebe, wild, with visions clear, a heart that's big, devoid of fear. She reads the future, love's true past. Her passion burns, defies the wrath. Then Paige, the last, yet not least, with power pure, a mystic feast, half witch, half white lighter, born. She binds the circle, mend what's torn. Through every trial, every test, they fought as one, they gave their best, a bond of sisters, strong as steel. In every wound, they learned to heal. Their legacy, a story told of courage bright, of heart so bold. Ode to the sisters, brave and true, the Halliwell sisters, forever new. Now, you know what? I gotta say, I think that's completely brilliant. Now, that was something
Mhm.
that you made up. You created that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I had some downtime,
you know what?
because I get
That's actually pretty brilliant. So what kind of gave you the inspiration for that? So what came first, the words or just the characters themselves? Or tell the people how you kind of got into that.
well, it's like a breakdown each character, their personality, the powers, and like can I write something, you know, praising what I did, on the show,
Right.
and it affects so many people, no matter what age you are, and it shows a strength.
Oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Kind of breaking up right there. Can you hear me? I don't know if I can't hear you right now. You might have to disconnect and call
That
me.
came out of that. That took a good 8 hours to write.
Huh.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
Wait,
Yeah, but I'm
wait. Can you
saying
hear me
I
now?
wrote it. It took me a good 8 hours to write because, yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Go ahead with what you were saying. You said it took
Can
you
you
eight
hear me?
hours to write. Yeah, go ahead. You
Yeah,
said it
yeah.
took 8 hours to
I was
write.
saying that, like I break down each character to show how they had their strengths, and as a kind of respect women in general to society. Women were shown the respect that they deserve. And in any civilized society, the backbone of any society is a woman. So it took me a good 8 hours to write it in completion. Not straight 8 hours, but broken up. So basically that was just showing my respect to a great TV show and great writing and great acting. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And for people that are curious, in case you decide to watch the show if you haven't seen it, Charmed is available on Peacock, Amazon, Pluto, and Roku. I've been watching it on Peacock. I think it's going to be there for quite a while because it is a WB show, and if I'm not mistaken, I think WB does have a contract with with Peacock. But I don't know how long that show will be on there. But that is a place to watch it. If that goes away, there's the other three. I don't think it's going to disappear from all at once. But I think that, that is kind of brilliant, actually. And that's something that, hey, if somebody wanted to learn poetry or kind of get some information, I think you're the one that they should talk to. You're definitely somebody that people could talk to. This next one that you wrote right here is called The Ode to the Book of Shadows. In a manner touched by mystic light, where secrets dwell in endless night, the pages turn, the spells ignite, a sisterhood forever bright. Through trials faced and darkness dared, three sisters stood, their powers shared. But then a fourth, with strength untold, joined the fold, their fate to hold. Shannen, strong with fire and will. Holly, wise the calm and still. Alyssa Milano, fierce with love's embrace. Rose McGowan, the wild in time and space. Together bound by blood and tears, they conquered demons, faced their fears. A legacy of love and lore in the book forevermore. The pages speak of courage, pain, of losses felt, yet never vain. For every word a story spun, of battles fought, of love hard won. An ode to them, these witches four, who gave us magic and so much more. Forever charmed, their spirits blend in the book of shadows without an end. And so the Book of Shadows. Now, refresh my memory on that, because I think that was something that, it's been a little bit since I've seen the show. That was something that they read in the show, right? Because that dealt with their powers.
Yes, yes. It's like the Book of Shadows basically is from generation to generation, and the wrote spells in it, had past spells in it, and this is how to destroy demons and warlocks that came to destroy them and kill them, So that was a big part of the show basically, and that very first episode, where Phoebe found the book and she said the spell, the incantation, and their witchly powers was bestowed on them. And, from then, you're just drawn in by the good writing, and you can have all the good writing you want, but if you don't have the necessary actors in there that couldn't play the part as well, So the Book of Shadows is one of the core things in the original charm. Yes.
And like I said, you did a great job on that. And I just think that this show was very well put together for a number of reasons. It managed to, like a number of other shows do, it combined a few genres into it. So when people think Charmed, if they know it, it's not just fantasy and witches. I mean, it was also combined with a little bit of, you can say it was thriller. It even had a splish splash of comedy to it, because there were definitely some humorous moments, particularly when it came to the tension, whether it be playful, mostly the playful tension between the sisters. I think personally Phoebe might have been the funniest out the sisters, because with her being the baby sister and kind of having that naive aspect to her and just kind of being this carefree, spirited, playful, just adventurous, wonder the world type character. And I think one of the funniest episodes I remember was when they cloned Prue, and it was three of them. And so when one of them ended up dying, and then so the guy saw the dead body at his at the medical examiner's office, and then he's just worried out of his mind, and he thought that the real Prue was actually dead. And so I found that whole thing to be quite funny, and how Piper and Phoebe managed to handle that. I think it was comedic. I think it was genius. I think it was well thought out, both by the characters as well as the writers who put that script together. And so I think that was good how they did that.
But my favorite episode when they turn gods or goddesses. You remember that one?
Was that while Prue was still on the show, or was that after she left?
Well, after she left, where the because the Greek gods went up to where the white lighters were, kill them all out. So Leo was one of the few white lighters remaining, and basically he took over. So he had to leave to take charge of the white lighters and everything, because they were running from these gods. And so he bestowed powers on the characters, the Phoebe, Paige and Piper.
Yeah. Okay, that was season
that was
6.
It was a 2-part episode.
That's right. It was called Oh My God. It's from season 6.
Yes. But what I was disappointed in with Charm is that they didn't extend the romance between the Cole character, Julian McMahon, and the Phoebe character, Alyssa Milano. I thought that would have made it, but I guess for whatever reasons, he was written out of the show or he left to go the other projects. But I think that storyline was very strong and conflicting, and it garnered a lot of interest.
Well, you know what? If I'm not mistaken, I think they got together in real life, didn't they? Or was that him and who got together with Alyssa Milano in real life?
I think it was Shannon Doherty got together with Julian McMahon, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, because I know it was Holly Marie Combs' character Piper. She was with
Mm-hmm.
Brian Krause, and I think Brian Krause was
Right.
Leo,
You're right.
and then Cole was Julian McMahon. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes,
and I,
yes.
I just think that it's one of those shows that, in retrospect, it it was that classic. And I got to be honest with you, this show was way more popular than I thought because there's a number of people
Mm-hmm.
who ran into.
Mm-hmm.
I've asked them, and they've said oh yeah, that used to be my show right there. And I didn't realize it was that big because I had heard of it for years, but I had never taken the
Mm-hmm.
time to watch it because I was just judging the book by its cover. At first, I thought it was just some girly thing, but then after I
Mm-hmm.
just had a little downtime and I decided, okay, what the heck? Let me take a look into it. And it
Yeah.
was, and like I said, it's humorous, it's enjoyable, it's thrilling, it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little cute and
Mm-hmm.
fantastical, but other than that, it is a good show that really knows how to garner the
Mm-hmm.
attention because of the dialogue and
Mm-hmm.
because of the situations going on.
Yeah. And a true Fuller arc
Yeah, and so
where he came in as the second son, but nobody knew. That was good.
yeah, and so let me check the one that's an ode to Shannon Doherty. It says right here, ode to Shannon Doherty. And then this is what you put. In the
Mm-hmm.
world of screen and stage, a star emerged set to engage. With strength and grace, her spirit shone. In every role, her heart was known. From Brenda, with her fierce defiance, to Prue in a realm of magic's dance, she carved her path with fearless might, a beacon in the darkest night. Her journey marked by trials and strife, yet through it all she lived her life. With courage rare and spirit bright, she faced her battles, stood to fight. In every role, in every scene, her soul was cast, her heart serene, a legacy of strength and fire, a testament to dreams inspired. Though shadows came and tests were dire, she rose above a burning pyre. An ode to her, this tale unfolds of Shannon Doherty, brave and bold. In memory's light, her name shall gleam, a symbol of a life redeemed. For in her journey, we find grace and inspiration time won't erase. And I think that fits well for both her character as well as who she was in real
Mm-hmm.
life. And like you said, she
Right.
was, and again, you know this better than I do because you said that you've met her in person because she
Mm-hmm.
welcomes you with open arms. And,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I guess with that being said, let me digress back to the other thing a little bit because here's another thing I never thought of. And I'm curious to know your opinion of this. So, with that
Mm-hmm.
whole thing that went on the set, and they're saying, like, oh, this whole drama between her and Alyssa, and there was some on tension set, do you have any theories or opinions as to why Shannon Doherty didn't necessarily detail why her exit occurred, even though that show had been long gone and long canceled?
Yeah. My theory is that, you know, she wants just closure, and not the animosity because, she was dying and she just wanted to come peace. And I think she made peace with herself and the situation. And from what I heard, she and Alyssa Milano are trying to like mend fences because, I think at the time they knew that her time was coming. Nobody knew when, but, having stage 4 cancer, it can take you out quickly, and so she fought a brave battle. And, you know, even though, there wasn't a reunion show, pity that there wasn't a reunion show. I don't know if they made up before she died, but I guess, life is too short, and you just have to mend fences and, call it for what it is. An unfortunate incident of misunderstanding and egos involved. So hopefully she got the closure she wanted. And she was a good person from what I saw when I met her. And she was down to earth and chatty and vibrant. So, God bless her, you know.
Well, you know what? And so here's the thought that I had, and I actually said this on my show when I was doing the segment talking about them. And I said this, and I'm gonna add that in with something that you just said, because on one hand, I said, listen, I'm just some average nobody. I said, I'm not part of that show. I don't know them in person. Uh, Shannen makes the claim to say Alyssa had her fired, which Holly and Rose backed. Alyssa says that she had nothing to do with it. And then, you know, I look at that and I say, listen, I just wish that whether it be in public or in private, probably more so public to get the fans online to shut up and everything, that they should have done a panel either with all four of them there, or even with just those two, or do some type of podcast. Shannen had a podcast. She should have brought Alyssa on the show, clarified things, and just clear things up and say, listen, they came to me and they said if I were Alyssa, this is what I would be saying. I say, listen, the producers came to me, the directors, the writers, whoever, they came to me and said, it's going to be you or Shannen. And so if I were her, I'd say, look, I didn't know how to handle that situation well. Everything just happened so fast. I didn't want you to get fired or to get in trouble. I didn't want to get fired. I didn't want to be in trouble. I didn't want anything to happen to Rose McGowan. I didn't want anything to happen to Holly Marie Combs or whoever else was on that set. I just think that there could have been a way to do that. But that actually, that reminds me, because I was looking up on here, and from the statements that I've read and the articles that I read about coming from Alyssa's perspective, she's saying, because she said, I think right after Shannen passed, she said, we did have a rocky relationship and there definitely was some tension, but, we weren't necessarily the closest of friends, but I do greatly love and respect her, not only for who she is as a person, but also because of the career that she brought about. And, having these big roles in Hollywood, she played Brenda from Beverly Hills, and then, of course, doing Prue on Charmed. So I just thought that if I were her, I'd say, because that's what she said during the thing. She's like, yeah, I respect her for her work. She's a very amazing, beautiful, talented actress. And she has so much support and love. She has so many friends. She's the godmother to Holly Marie Combs' kids. And so that was the note that Alyssa Milano had left on. And to my knowledge, like I said, I follow Alyssa Milano kind of. And just from the articles and stuff that I've seen from her, Instagram page, Twitter page, whatever, she hasn't really thrown any harsh or negative words towards Shannen. And the thing that absolutely, I wouldn't say it completely irritates me, but it just kind of catches me that I'm looking, every time Alyssa Milano puts out a post on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or something, you have all these fans saying, "Oh, she was horrible on the set of Charmed, and she should have publicly apologized to Shannen Doherty and Holly Marie Combs and all them." And it's like, guys, you're overreacting here. You don't know that. We weren't there, and there's no definitive proof on either side. The only thing that we have proof of is Shannen had to leave the show. We don't know the exact reasons why. We can speculate, we can theorize, we can opinionate, but it's just people throwing all this pointless shade at Alyssa Milano. And it's just, and like you said, I'm a fan of them both, and I'm especially a fan of Alyssa Milano because she's a Democratic activist. She supported our preferred candidates: Obama, Hillary, Biden, Kamala, and it's like, guys, they're sitting here criticizing her, calling her a washed-up actress, and nobody likes her. Well, guess what? She's got way more fame than money than all of us do combined. So I think they're all doing just fine, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think when you see all these ignorant comments online, just throwing random shade at Alyssa?
Yeah, I guess people take sides basically. If you're a Team Shannen or Team Holly or Team Alyssa or Team Rose, but the bottom line is, like you said, nobody was there. You weren't part of the show. So take it with a grain of salt and say, hey, on movie sets, on TV show sets, egos will collide. And as human beings, we're all different, so we can accept those differences and try to work within the system, or be, acrimonious against each other, saying, hey, I'm on Team Shannen or I'm on Team Alyssa. The bottom line, it do affect them, And we should just move on, just enjoy the show for what it was, the legacy it left, and the enjoyment that we all had watching it. And as I said, the reruns will come on Peacock, and it was just a great show, you
Yes,
know.
yes.
So we should just move on collectively, and
Y-
not bicker and argue who was right, who was wrong, whose fault it was. Because as humans, we're not perfect. So you know, just bring it to a closure and enjoy the legacy the show left.
Right, right. And see, I guess the other thing that I'm thinking too is, and from a certain point of view, to a certain degree, I can understand why that certain
Mm-hmm.
celebrities don't come out and just reveal everything, even after a show or movie has been ended. So, I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
Charm ended in 2006. We're now
Mm-hmm.
we're about to go into 2025. We're almost at 2026. So you're talking almost 20 years later. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like I get that they don't want to sound divisive or polarizing or
Mm-hmm.
get the audience hyped up, but it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's a part of me, and you might disagree with this, but there's a part of me that feels if Holly Marie Combs and or Rose McGowan came out right now and detailed
Mm-hmm.
every last thing that happened on that set,
Mm-hmm.
being completely honest, I don't think that that's gonna
Mm-hmm.
hurt anybody. I don't think it's gonna hurt Holly. I don't think it's gonna hurt Rose. I don't think it's gonna hurt Alyssa Milano because they all made their money. They got their fame, and so they go around and they go to the Comic Con conventions and do whatever they do, and they sign autographs and take the pictures and do all that stuff. Me
Mm-hmm.
personally, I don't feel like that would hurt any of them. I think that would just be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, here's what happened, and then you all could feel free to speculate and opinionate and just theorize about
Right.
how things went down. I mean, what do you think of that?
Yeah, draw your own conclusions and bring some closure to it, because Shannon is not here to defend her side of the story.
Right,
So maybe it's up to Rose and
Holly.
Holly to come forward and say, hey, this is what happened. This is our perspective of what happened, and Alyssa did the same thing, and everybody just draw the conclusion and just bring this whole drama to an end.
Right, now let me get to the poems on the ones that you did on Holly Marie Combs. Um,
Hmm.
Holly Marie Combs. In the tapestry of stars so wide, Holly Marie Combs shines with gentle pride. Her beauty, soft as twilight's hue, a light that guides a heart so true. Her smile, a beacon in the dark, her laughter like a hopeful spark. A presence warm with grace profound, in her a tranquil peace is found. From the screen to the hearts, from the screen to the hearts she touched, her kindness felt, her spirit clutched. A gentle strength, a caring hand, a cherished star, a guiding land. In every role, her essence gleams, a portrait of our fondest dreams. Holly Marie Combs, a beauty rare, a vision of love and tender care. And then here's the final one on Rose McGowan. And by the way, right before I read that one, I gotta ask, I didn't see the one that you did for Alyssa Milano. Did you do one for Alyssa or
Uh, did I do one? I think I did. I don't
okay?
ever. I'll look for it and send you. But I'm
Okay,
sure I
yeah,
did.
yeah. Because if you did, I may not have gotten it, or maybe I glazed over it. I just
Mhm.
didn't see it. But I mean, if you're still in the process of working on it, I mean, obviously, no rush. Take all the time you need. But here's the
Mhm.
one. Here's the one on Rose McGowan. In realms where shadows intertwine, Rose McGowan stands a light divine. With fire in her eyes, a fierce embrace, she carves her paths with bold grace. Her spirit wild defies the norm, a storm of strength, a rebel's form. In every role, she breaks the mold, a tale of courage fiercely told. Her voice is a call to rise above, to challenge fate, to seek and love. With every step, she makes her mark, a blazing star, a vivid spark. In fields of change, she leads the way. With passion bright, she seizes the day. Rose McGowan, fierce and free, a beacon of tenacity. And and so
Yep.
and so let me ask you this question. So were these poems that you created before or after you met them in person?
After, way after.
Well,
Yeah,
listen,
way after.
here's what I'm thinking. I think that that is something that is so brilliant. I think it's so genius and so well thought out and so intricate that,
Mm.
and I don't know if you plan on going to, how far away do you stay from Albuquerque?
Oh well, I'm in Albuquerque actually,
Oh,
and
okay. Hey, well, hey,
and
if I were you, I'd go to the Comic Con to talk to Holly Marie Combs, and if I were you, I would show her those
mhm,
poems. And by the way, if it's okay with you, and I only have to ask
mhm,
your permission for it, but the next
mhm,
time I go to the Comic Con, and if one of them happens to be there,
mhm.
I'd like to show them that and tell them, hey, my friend wrote this for you.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. You don't need permission. Yeah, just give them,
Yeah,
you
yeah, because
know.
I would let people know that it's your work because
Mhm,
I don't have the smarts and brilliance to be able to come up with something like that. I
mhm.
never was
Because
talented with poetry.
I've been a fan of Holly Marie Combs since her days on picket fences, you know. And when I saw her in Charm, I'm like, oh, that girl from picket fences. And so when I met her on the subway in New York, it's like, your celebrity crush, you know.
Hmm.
But I was on my best behavior, you know. And when I met Rose McGowan in that audition, that special audition, I basically walked into the room like I own it. And I said, "Wow, you're easy on the eyes." And she bust out in this laugh. And I'm like, "Oh, gee." She was like, "Oh, my Lord." you know? So we'll get chatting for a good 10 minutes. And, you know, all of them were just down to earth, you know? And yeah, especially Holly Marie Combs. Yeah, I was impressed with her um, outgoingness and friendliness and what have you. And when she talked to you, it was like eye to eye contact. And, she's just genuine. Unlike certain Hollywood stars, I'm not calling the names, they're just like, oh, get away from me. You're in my private space. You know, the, the ladies of Charm were just super sweet. Yeah, yeah.
And listen, you were really lucky and fortunate to have met Shannen Doherty,
Mhm,
during her time here on this
mhm,
earth.
mhm.
And I have to
Yeah,
say, and it's
yeah.
like, because I think it wasn't until last year that somebody had told me, because like I said, I didn't follow hardly any of them, and I certainly didn't follow the
Mhm,
show before 2023. And somebody told me that,
mhm,
yeah, Shannen Doherty had cancer. And I had looked
mhm,
into a few articles in that. Now, she was first diagnosed with something back in the late 90s. I don't know if it was cancer or something else, but I think by the time
mhm,
2020, it was 21, maybe 22 came along. Or no,
mhm,
I'm sorry, 23. And
mhm,
it was said that she had another 5 years at best. And earlier this
mhm,
year, the cancer, it had spread to her lymph nodes and her brain.
mhm.
And so
Yeah.
I was reading some facts about that, and it was saying that once it spreads to the lymph nodes in the brain, I mean, that's just more and more things shutting down. And it's like you can't,
Mhm,
there's no other way to say it, but unfortunately, once it gets to that point, there's not that much time left. And so I knew it was getting close for her, but I remember I think I ordered the Comic Con ticket in like March or April of earlier this year. And I
mhm,
knew that Shannen was going to be there. I knew Holly and Rose were going to be there. And I was sitting there with
mhm,
fingers crossed. And I thought to myself, I said, I'm really hoping that she can make it just long enough to get over that finish line. And she passes a
mhm,
month before. And I was just
mhm,
like, damn, like it was so close. And I know
mhm,
all her fans were just, and I'm sure you're probably following a lot of the Charmed group pages, all the group pages that are fans of Shannen Doherty, fans of the show Charmed, and
mhm,
and people are, again, it's a tragic thing. And when I was talking to Holly at the Comic Con,
mhm,
she told me there that
mhm,
this is how I know Holly is a good person, and this is how I know she's such a sweet person, and
mhm,
she does her best to stay professional and friendly and personable. And
mhm,
she was saying that because that convention took place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I think I talked to her that Friday, and
mhm,
she said that she had been crying all day, and
mhm,
you know, and I don't think I had no, I didn't say this to her, but here's what I was thinking. I was thinking like, listen, you don't have to do this for all of us.
mhm,
I mean, we're just fans
mhm,
here. And it's like, at the end of the day, your personal life and your well being matters more. This is just me thinking this.
mhm,
And, you know, just for her to be able to hold herself together with that, with her being
mhm,
upset, with her being just so depressed and devastated that her best friend in the whole world passed away, and
mhm,
she still managed to get herself to that convention and entertain her
mhm,
fans by talking about the legacy of Charmed and by
mhm,
taking pictures with the fans and giving them autographs. I mean, it tells you right there. If I were one thing I meant to say to Holly that I wish I would have said to her, and I will say this to her if I see her again. Holly,
Mm-hmm.
you are a damn strong woman. And no
Mm-hmm.
matter what anybody says, I don't care what the critics say, I don't care what the haters say, the people who don't understand, it doesn't matter. You are pretty damn strong to be able to go through all that and to make it here and do what you have to do to get through the day and to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Holly Marie
Mm-hmm.
Combs is a great person.
Yes, yes, she is. Yes, she is. And props to Rose McGowan too, because when the Me Too movement came about, she was one of the first people. She and Courtney Love, the singer, who said that Harvey Weinstein wasn't a good person, and she put her neck out
Yes.
there and her career out there. Nobody believed her until certain things. Women keep coming forward saying Harvey Weinstein did this to me. He touched me inappropriately. He raped me. He tried to,
Yeah.
and everything that's in darkness will come to light. And good for her that she did that. Like I say, women are the backbone of a society in a civilized society. So they need to be shown respect and give them what's due to them. Equal work for equal pay, equality across the board. That's how society grow and move forward. We're in the 21st century, not in the 1800s, where women couldn't run for political office, where women couldn't have jobs. Well, if you're a man, you should be for equality, for equal pay, for things like that. So props to Rose McGowan for doing that. And I hope her career comes back on track because she's a decent actor. She's a good actor. And the whole Hollywood thing where it blew up with P Diddy case going on, and the Epstein, his list hasn't been out yet. So I mean, there is a reckoning to be had in Hollywood, in the music industry, and in America in general, because women fought, and got the vote in 1919, and now Republicans trying to take it away from them. You know, wanting women to stay home, having babies, and even when something is wrong with the baby, they don't have a chance to have a choice in either aborting it or giving it up for adoption. I mean, that's not right. That's not cool. You know.
What?
So we're regressing with Trump getting a second term. God help us, because in my opinion, as a political blogger and a political radio host, we're in for the time of our lives. And America's not built to have a dictator. So I'm hoping for the best. We should resist. We should fight for women's equality, fight for LGBTQ community, fight for immigrants, fight for the marginalized people. Because this is what make America great. Not somebody like Donald Trump and Republicans. But I digress.
Yeah, and that actually reminds me because I think that this segment here has gone so well that we should definitely
Mm-hmm,
do some other segments in regard to
mm-hmm,
politics. And so the people who are watching,
mm-hmm,
if you're Democrats, we're going to cover what went wrong in the presidential election and what we plan on doing to make it so that Democrats win the Senate and
mm-hmm,
the House back. Is there any?
mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you wanted to add into the charmed discussion?
Oh yes, that hopefully I can attend the Comic Con in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Is just up the road from me, basically. And I'd love to meet Holly Marie Combs again. Cause she is such an amazing human being. As a person, she's nice and approachable. And I just want to have even if it's 5 minute discussion with her. You know, because that train ride in New York was very very. It was a very life changing thing. And she's one of the reasons why I'm pursuing writing and acting. You know, on picket fences. Like I said, I had a crush on her, and it's just a crush. It's a silly schoolboy crush.
Oh, trust
But
me, I
but
can
she
understand. Yeah.
she is just a beautiful, amazing person. You know, and I think they should have a reunion of Charm, make it a movie or something. Just for I don't know, just it was such a good show. They should make a movie out of it, like a 3 hour movie or something. You know?
I was thinking about something.
Yeah.
I was thinking about something like that, and I thought the same thing of like a
Mhm,
lot of other shows that I watch, and so I was thinking the same thing of
mhm,
like maybe I don't know an SVU or Criminal Minds or whatever. But for Charmed, I
mhm,
think that and see now, even if they decided to do that now, which I think there's like a 1% chance they would do it or even less, it's like
mhm,
it would only be Piper and Paige because there's no Prue because Prue
mhm.
had got killed off at the end of season 3, and then you have
Right.
Phoebe who again I don't know how they would bring together Alyssa Milano to make that happen because of all the tension, but
Mhm.
at the very least,
Right.
I'll tell you the very closest thing that they did to that is in the last few months or
Mhm,
last couple years that Shannen was alive, they've been holding these, like I said,
mhm,
they've gone to these different Comic Con events and they've gone to they've had these panels where,
mhm,
they just go up there and they just talk about the show and they talk about the legacy of the show and how it all got
mhm,
started and what the characters
mhm,
were like and what the show was about. But in not any of
mhm,
those panels did they ever discuss the details of what went down
mhm,
with Alyssa. But like I said, there's a part of me that gets like, okay, they're trying to keep things civil and professional and lighthearted
mhm,
here.
mhm.
They don't want to turn this into what could potentially be an anti Melissa Milano hate fest. And I can see why they wouldn't want to do that
Right. Right.
because they don't want to look like,
Mhm,
as you said, something like a Republican rally or something along those lines.
mhm.
And so
Right. Right.
and so like I said, I could see why they would kind of avoid it for a bit. But like I said, Shannon Doherty had her podcast and she could essentially say whatever the hell she wanted on there. So
Mhm, mhm.
and so I just think that yeah,
And the
it's a
good
lot.
thing
But go ahead,
about
go ahead.
about it, since she has passed, her mother and 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 Holly Combs are going to continue this podcast. So that's a good thing. Keep her legacy alive.
Oh really? They're continuing her podcast. I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes, that's what I read recently. Yeah, they're going
Oh
to continue it. So
oh
that's
well,
a
that'd
good
be
thing,
nice.
Keep her light shining, and keep the legacy of Charm going because Charm is one of the highest rated shows on TV. There's Charlotte's Angels, there's Xena Warrior Princess, there's Wonder Woman in the 70s, where strong female leads were there. And that's what women and little girls need, you know, and to show us men, what strong women, are and how we should respect them and laud them and not put them up on a high, impossible pedestal, but to show respect, and respect is through equality and just taking care of women and showing good vibes, give them what is due to them.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to the strong woman vibes, or matter of fact, I wouldn't even say vibes. I just think it's the television shows and movies that portray, women as being strong and aggressive and not pushovers. I think that Charmed was a great show at doing
Mm-hmm.
that in the same way that I think that SVU
Mm-hmm.
kind of presents that same aspect because you have um, Mariska Hargitay and Stephanie March and Diane Neal and Tamara Tooney that play the roles of Olivia Benson, Alex Cabot, Casey Novak, and Melinda Warner, where these are women who don't back down. They take no BS. And shows like that do that. When you look at the women in Scream, I mean, you're talking about Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox. You're talking Hayden Panettiere
Right.
and Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera and people like them. I just think that I see stuff like that, and that's part of the reason why, in my opinion, it does make it good on top of the content that it's presenting. Because overall, to me, I do like the content a little
Yeah.
better, but I also love the actors and actresses who portray the characters who go about that.
Yes, yes. Some reason in and out. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I know what this video is acting
Yes,
up a
yes.
bit.
For some reason, going in and out. Yeah.
Right, right. And
I don't know
so
what's happening with Facebook today, but you're going to.
Right. And so
Mhm.
I was wondering by any chance, so what? Did you feel like doing another segment tonight or what?
Oh well, we can do it tomorrow. Okay.
Oh. Actually, you know what? Hey, can you repeat that? Because you kind of broke up there.
Yeah. Oh, is there Eric?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Hello. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm saying that we can do it tomorrow. You know,
Okay, makes
tomorrow is a
sense.
good time. Yeah.
Okay, so to people who are out there
Mhm.
listening, so tomorrow, David Franklin and I will do a segment talking about politics. He and Lori Pica
Mhm.
host a talk radio show called Kitchen Politics 123. I'm a person who started off by calling in regularly, and then later I became occasional co-host. And so we are anybody who knows us, and of course to those of you who don't know, I'm just here to reiterate to everybody: we are hardcore Democrats. We are left-wing liberals. We've supported the likes of Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. And
Yeah.
we support Democrats on the state level too, like Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom and Michelle Grisham. And
Mhm.
in our next segment that we'll do, we'll be talking about what went wrong in the 2024 presidential election, what Democrats can do
Mhm.
to win back the Senate in 2026, and what candidates we
Mhm.
think will run for president in 2028 and who we would like to see run. And then I also laid
Mhm.
out my 10 state strategy in terms of
Mhm.
what actually, you know what, at this point, I think it's a 12 state strategy. I laid out my 12 state strategy in terms of what we need to do and the states that we need to target with independent
Mhm.
voters and how we're going to win these elections. And so I would say everybody stay tuned. I think this has been a great segment. Again,
Mhm.
Holly Marie Combs, Alyssa Milano, Rose McGowan, some of the best actresses, some of the most beautiful actresses that we've seen. And,
Mhm.
same thing with Shannen Doherty. Rest in peace to her, the late, great
Mhm.
Shannen Doherty. And power
Mhm.
to the Hollowell sisters, Prue, Piper, Paige, and Phoebe. And,
Mhm.
Charm Legacy lives on.
Yes, yes, empowering women and little girls. And I want to add to that you can go to kitchenpolitics123.com, and we're also on Facebook and Blue Sky. We're not going to do the Twitter thing because Twitter is too toxic, you know? Elon Musk is something else. Let's just put it that way. You can call him
Yeah.
co-president. He's not a good person.
Hey, trust me, I hear you on that one. So what we'll do in the next segment is we'll go more into detail about that, and I will tag the link to all our socials in the comments below once this video is posted. I will put it in the comment section on YouTube. I'll put it in the comment section on Facebook, and I will also make sure that anybody who sees it, they share it to other social media sources they please, and hopefully it'll go to the Charm fan group pages. So, David
Mhm.
Franklin, I appreciate this time, and I'm glad we finally had the opportunity to do this.
Yes, man. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to tomorrow, the second segment.
Hey, absolutely. You have a great night, and you take it easy.
Yeah, man.
Take it
Bye.
easy. Yeah.
Bye.